For more on the clashes in Turkey and the new developments, I spoke to Mehmet Celebi in Istanbul. He's a fellow with the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding.
I don't think there's any differences in the messages between the president and the prime minister. When the events first took place, of course, the prime minister, as somebody who's in charge, who's head of the government, made some statements. But then, as you know, he went on a tour to Africa, previously scheduled trip. The president, in the meantime, stepped in within the constitutional powers that are given to him, and of course, he had some meetings with certain groups. However, as you know, today the Prime Minister met with some of these groups, and he's with representatives of the protesters as well as other people of influence. And I'm yet to wait for the results of this, but I'm certain that there'll be some sort of an understanding between the two groups regarding what can be done that would really put an end to the protests that are taking place in a few cities in Turkey.
What do you think it will take for things to stabilize there in Turkey, and what do you think it'll take for Erdogan to get back in the good graces of some of the people there that he is upset?
I think as a government, Erdogan is making efforts to listen to them. Different parts of the government are making efforts to listen to the people. Everybody's aware that this is one country, it's one ship that we're all in together. We either sink or float together. And as such, the overwhelming majority of people who really may have had some legitimate cause for this are saying, look, it's time for us to go beyond this. Let's solve this. I am certain a government that has been in power for the last 11 years and made what's called a miracle in the Middle East, in the region, especially at a time when there was a global financial crisis. The only G20 country that did not have to finance, that did not have to put any money into the banking system with this current global crisis. I'm sure it can manage to come up with a solution to a park. And I know that some people say it's beyond that. However, at the initial fueling fire was the police harsh, brutal reaction to the demonstrators, peaceful demonstrators that were in the park, the handful of people there. Everybody was upset. I was upset. In a democracy, this shouldn't exist. Police should really operate within the confines of the law in any democracy. But the government has addressed this. Today we're hearing reports that some police officers who were involved in brutality have been actually put on leave pending an investigation. So all these steps should actually resolve the demand of the majority of people.
How much do you think the government overtures, this change in the attitude today, is from possibly the EU looking at Turkey's membership into the EU?
Look, I think if the EU wants to come and discuss the membership process today, we have a lot to say to the EU about this. I think it's quite condescending on the part of the EU to come down today and speak about this, let alone about any other issue, when Turkey has complied fully with a lot of the requirements. And in fact, what is being asked of Turkey has never been asked of any of the 27 members that came into before. And as such, for EU to come and really give a lecture to Turkey today is not going to be taken seriously. Of course, look, the EU still is a very good target for Turkey. We all Turks who want to move on to more advanced democratic rights and reforms, etc., aspire to be just like any other EU country. But I don't think EU has any leverage on Turkey regarding the membership talks, because simply no chapters have really been opened for the last few years for this or that ridiculous reason, including the Cyprus issue and any other issue. So, it's not going to hold a lot of water either for the government or for the Turkish public at large.